Tim's Corner Motorsports is presented by Pache Motors, the largest Ram truck dealer in Atlantic Canada. Browse their inventory online at pachemotors.com. Tranquility. Help for anxiety is only a click away. Learn more by visiting tranquility.app. Finish Line Vinyl Design, the official decal supplier of Tim's Corner Motorsports. Like them on Facebook at facebook.com/finishline vinyl design. And by CB Warren's Auto Care.
Well, good evening, race fans. Welcome to the virtual Oxford Plains Speedway for round number 2 of the Tim's Corner Motorsports Weekly iRacing Series. It's the Highway 311 North River Market 75 live on the internet. I'm Dylan Langell from Riverside International Speedway in Nova Scotia, back in the virtual announcer booth with my buddy from New York and my buddy from The Rock. We'll start here on the East Coast. Mr. Mike James from Eastbound Park. What's going on, brother? Or Kyle?
Well, maybe Mike has gotten into too many wobbly pops there on The Rock. Good to be here. Good to be here, Dylan. Thank you. For everybody tuning in, glad to be here once again. Week number 2 for the TCM Weekly iRacing Series. Saw some good stuff last week. The expectations have definitely risen for tonight, and a bit of a different twist than what we saw last week here, guys. 75 laps instead of 100, so we've got a little bit shorter distance. Could make things a little bit more intense as we get through the feature tonight, Mike.
I think Mike is trying to catch.
Yeah, it's going to be really slicky wicky tonight. No tires tonight for the guys in the pit. 75 laps on the board. It's going to be a nice night for racing here on Thursday or Wednesday night. I don't even know what day it is, boys. But you guys sounded like Hook on Phonics. I think I got an internet problem because it was like wah 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 like Charlie Brown.
Well, we thought you were just catching your breath to get ready for the first heat race. So just like last week, 4 heat races coming up, top 3 advance automatically. And Kyle, we already have our Fast 8 that already advanced to the big feature coming up tonight, 75 laps. Ashton Tucker and Keith McDaddy McClellan on the front row. Roger Down, Richard Drake, Ryan Messer, Chris Roma, Jake Goodwin, and Matthew Barkhouse have already entered their way into tonight's race. But these drivers here, they got to fight it out either in a quick 10-lap heat or a 35-lap LCQ hooligan race. Let's go through our starting lineup in heat race number 1 for tonight's race.
Your pole sitter here for heat race number 1 in car number 78 is John Fitzpatrick. He had a top 3 finish in last week's season opener. On the outside pole in car number 17 is Brad Hayes.
On the inside of row number 2, the 2 car of Todd Cousins. His partner in crime on the outside, the 5 car, will be Craig Tully.
Tam Woolridge, young Bandolero driver, starting 5th. And Nick Pache, also young Bando driver, starting 6th in the number 51.
4th and final row for heat race number 1. Car number 8 of Ryan Twinham will start in position number 7. And scratch on the field in car number 16 is John Gahan. Pace car will duck down onto the safety of pit road, leave the field in control by John Fitzpatrick. He smashes the loud pedal, and we are underway for the first time tonight. Heat race number 1 thunders down into turns 1 and 2 for the very first time. Your top 2 cars will single file out coming off of turn 2 and down onto the backstretch. Now Todd Cousins will clear for 3rd, going into turn number 3. First side-by-side battle is with Tanton Woolridge in the 56 and Craig Tully in the 5 as John Fitzpatrick leads lap number 1.
Tully hanging out on the outside, and that 5 car will finally tuck in. A little single file racing with the 78 of Fitzpatrick leading them around for 3 laps as they come across the start-finish line with Brad Hayes, Todd Cousins, your top 3. And look at that, Tully looking to the outside, taking a peek, half a car right now on Tanton Woolridge.
Whoa, Woolridge is loose, and he loses that position to Craig Tully. Remember last week, boys, those 2 drivers got into it in the heat races. So we'll see if we get a rerun this evening with tonight's race, the Highway 311 North River Market 75 at Oxford Plains Speedway. Kyle, this track pretty hot, pretty slick tonight compared to last week. So that means the drivers are going to be slipping and sliding around these corners.
You're absolutely right, Dylan. 82 degrees Fahrenheit, the ambient temperature, the track temperature, 96 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is hot, it is slick, it is not all that grippy. We're going to see these drivers out of control, slipping and sliding and struggling to hang on to their race cars tonight. Not at all what they had to deal with last week. It was significantly cooler, had a much more grip, and you can see it right there, John Gahan, all sorts of sideways going into turn number 3 there. He's able to gather it back up. That is just one of the first of many slipping and sliding incidents we're going to see throughout the night tonight.
Yeah, the 16 almost came up on Tam Woolridge, but is now trying to creep back into the picture. We got a big battle for that 4th position as Craig Tully tries to hold off Woolridge and Gahan. That's going to get interesting throughout the evening. Like he said, Tully and Woolridge got some history in race number 1. Will it continue here in week number 2?
Well, it looks like it'll have to continue in one of those hooligan races, boys, as Tully and Tam Woolridge, they're a little back from Todd Cousins, who's in the final transfer spot to make it to the 75 lapper tonight. Fitzpatrick and Brad Hayes, bad Brad Hayes, and that 17 have been stuck in those positions the entire time, but those are the positions you want to be stuck in. You don't want to have to race 35 hard laps as Woolridge again really loose, and that opens the door for the 16 Gahan. He loses another position, Kyle.
Yeah, that he does. That does not help his case at all. He is on the outside looking in, but even if you're on the outside of the qualifying spot, you want to finish as high up as you can so that way you have a better starting position for your consolation race. That sacrifices one position there to Gahan. Woolridge's going to try to get back after him here on the final lap, but he's going to need to make some ground up here if he's going to get to at least the back bumper.
Well, White Silks in the sky. And John Fitzpatrick in the 78 looks like he'll take this home, but the transfer position, like I said, Todd Cousins could look like he will end up in the thing. And look at Johnny Fitzpatrick with a victory. Dukes of Hazzard barrel roll. Unbelievable jump off the ship pile.
I thought that it was supposed to stop in mid-flight there and say, well, them Duke boys got themselves in a predicament here. They're going to get away from Boss Hogg. Find out after this.
You watch too much Dukes.
It was my favorite show as a kid, but we got a show tonight. Thank you all for joining us on Vidane TV or Tim's Corner Motorsports or YouTube or wherever you're watching this tonight. It is the second round of the TCM Weekly iRacing Series. Every race will be right here on Vidane TV and at the Oxford Plains Speedway, legendary short track in the northeast of the states, just a little below the Maritimes here. Maritime heavy again, and we're going to kick off heat race number 2 with Mott and Riley Duncan on row number 1, Mikey.
Inside of row number 2 in car number 57 is Corey Hallett, and he will have the 07 of Jonathan Pollard in position number 4 to his outside.
And in row number 3, Jason Goss, the 41 from Torbay. 2 Newfoundlanders on this row. The 05, Chantel Pottle from CBN on the outside in position number 6.
And at the back of the field, Todd Tufts and Tony Wright in the 09 their way into the 75 lapper tonight. We do allocate the points. There is a little bit of money on the line. And coming into tonight's races, our point leader was last week's winner, Matthew Barkhouse. Man, he was some fast in his qualifying time, and he was also super fast in the race, which Ashton Tucker was dominating mostly the entire time. We'll see how it goes tonight. Ashton Tucker is your pole sitter as we fire off, and Maude shot out of a rocket on the start there. He pulls away from Riley Duncan on the get-go.
Nick Mott did not leave anything on the grid for those drivers. He jumped out to a very early start, but he's lost that lead entirely now as Riley Duncan closes in on the back bumper of the 52 machine at the completion of lap number 1. Got the 05 machine of Chantel Pottle down on the inside by pit road. She is all sorts of out of shape. Got that car back going again, but she is well off the pace. She's going to need a caution flag if she's going to have an opportunity to make it into.
We haven't seen the caution. We haven't seen that caution all night. We've seen a lot of green white checkers in week number 1 on these heat races. So let's not jinx it here as Nick Mott brings it around Riley Duncan getting to that bumper. Your top 4 all single file in front, but the 57 going to go for a ride to the inside.
Ooh, and now we got a caution on the track as there was supposed to be a little battle there for the lead, but the 57 car, well, they're doing a little off-roading there. That is Corey Hallett, who was in the top 3, I believe, and now they're going to be falling back, and there's a little contact there too. But hey, this gives us a prime opportunity to talk to our good buddy, our good pal, Mr. Paul Showtime Strickland, with some kick-ass beef jerky replay, right?
Yeah, this is a greatly timed caution for a handful of drivers we just mentioned. At the completion of that first lap there, Chantel Pottle got herself all out of shape, lost the lead group. This will allow her to catch back up to the field. She is in position at number 5 actually right now, taking advantage of some of those drivers that were involved in that incident. So she gets to line up right behind Jonathan Pollard, who's in that third and final transfer position. So a great recovery for her, gives her a great opportunity to try to steal a transfer position in the second half of this race. Simple little incident there, no major contact, no damage, so everybody will be able to regroup and refire for this restart. We'll only have a few laps to go once we do so. So if you're on the outside looking in, you got to make it happen here pretty quickly.
Yeah, Riley Duncan's going to have to time this properly as Mott shot out of a cannon on that first initial start of this race. We're going to be down to basically 4 laps to go here. As pace car lights are out, we're going back to green flag action. 52 of Nick Mott's going to carry him around turn 3 and 4. We're going back green.
4-lap shootout to find a winner in this heat race and to also find our top 3. And it looks like already Riley Duncan on the outside. That's not where you want to be. Tufts is going to try and move on the inside and grab P3. Inside line's going to work there as Duncan just trying to fight off Tufts in the 72. Too wide going for 3rd place, and that's an automatic transfer to the 75-lap main event tonight, brother.
Riley Duncan, all kinds of struggling on the outside lane. He is outside of a transfer spot now, banging doors with the 57 Hallett, and right in front of him, a car goes around. The 72 of Todd Tuff spins. Duncan is able to avoid. The caution flag will come out once again, and we will go to extra innings for the first time tonight. Gentlemen, we will go green-white checker to settle heat race number 2.
Another kick-ass beef jerky instant replay setting up for that very first green-white checkered. And we're going to take a look. We saw it almost live on our screen there. Well, we saw the reaction. 72 of Tufts in a tough position. Don't fire me. But you can see Guyton gets a little bit of a shot. It looks like that front bumper of that 41 car might be reinforced here tonight. But gets a little bit of a shot there. Sends him from 3rd on back to 8th. We've seen crazier things happen than somebody going from 8th to 1st on a last lap, or even 8th to 3rd. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Jason Goss has already shown a lot of the speed, but that will send him to the back again in that 41 car from Newfoundland. Out in front, Nick Mott has led the entire way, but after that, you couldn't really place a stall a bet on who's going to be where because every position has changed. Pollard now up to 2nd, and Hallett is back in 3rd after they spun out to bring out the first caution. Was mentioning about the standings quickly before we restarted. Coming into tonight's races, so if you're a little unaware, we are building up the points. There's some money on the line at the end of the season. It's an 8-race series. Matthew Barkhouse, race winner last week. He is leading. Brett Suggs, one of the lone Americans in this series. He is currently in 2nd. Tie for 3rd, John Fitzpatrick, Ashton Tucker, and for 5th, Conrad Murphy in the 89. They're all going to be here tonight going for some points and going for some extra cash. We have the halfway award again, thanks to our good buddy Terry at Highway 311 North River Market. Christmas coming up in a few weeks. I can't believe it. Grab some Christmas gifts from there before you disappoint your family because you didn't get them anything. Just go to Highway 311 North River Market. You can find all kinds of great stuff. But, boys, we're going to go back racing here. It looks like the pace lights are off. Mikey James, if you're live, we're going to go racing. Kyle, let's take her home here and try and finish off heat race number 2.
Green-white checkered attempt number 1. Here we go. Nick monstrous restart once again. Jonathan Pollard struggled. He spun the tires, dropped down to the bottom side of the racetrack. Everybody else able to fit in line. And Corey Hallett will take over position number 3, leaving Riley Duncan 1 spot out as they go into turn 3 for the penultimate time. Hallett putting the pressure on Pollard's back bumper, stacks the field up as they come across the white flag.
White's coming around, and it's going to be heated for that 3rd position as Hallett tries to hold off Duncan, but look at this, a little bit too wide of action in the back, but it's not going to be enough time as Pollard is going to come around in your 2nd position, and Corey Hallett will get that precious transfer spot in your race winner, Nick Mott, in the 52 car.
Wow, that's crazy that Corey Hallett was in 3rd, spun out, came back to make the race. He will advance directly to the Highway 311 North River Market 75 here at Oxford Plains Speedway. We've got 2 more heat races to get to, race fans. I want to thank you again for checking us out here on a Wednesday night. And we've got another heavy hitter lineup coming at you right here. We were just talking about one of these drivers. But on the front row, Mr. Moorcroft and Mark Williams in the 42.
Starting in position number 3, driving car number 89, currently sitting 5th place in the point standings after the opener last week. That is Conrad Murphy, and Conrad will have the number 23 Napa Auto Parts machine to his outside, driven by Joey Stiers.
And on the inside of row number 3, in position number 5, the 157 machine of John Byron, and his partner on the outside, TJ Medor, in the 7 car.
Now on your screen, the 01 may be coming up as Shannon Burke. That is actually Troy Burke behind the 01. And Trevor Lamb, part owner of Vincent Lamb Garnier Racing. And there he is on the track now, one of the owners for Kent Vincent on the Maritime Parts Trucks Pro Stock Tour. He's back in it, boys. He told me last week was his 2nd time ever racing on iRacing. So he's a little new to the iRacing, but it's great to see Trevor out here. We'll see if he can make the big feature tonight. He's got to try and get through 12 laps first.
And he's got a long way to go, starting dead last in 8. He needs to gain 5 spots, and we've already got cars sliding. It's the 23 of Joey Stiers out of control. Everybody, oh boy, hang on, TJ Medor. He got a big shove going into turn number 1 at the back of the pack. It appears that everybody has been able to manage it. A wild first lap, but it's complete, and Cody Moorcroft will lead it.
We stay green, unbelievable from all those drivers, including Joey Stiers, like you said, in the 23 by hanging on to it. But that Napa machine starting to creep up, looking at the 01 of Shannon or Mr. Burke. Who did you say was in the 01? Troy Burke.
Like the movie.
Troy Burke.
Either way, we got some change of positions there with the 23 and the 7 of Medor marching their way through the field as it was pretty scrambled eggs to kick off heat race number 3. In front, it's still Cody Moorcroft, Conrad Murphy, and Mr. Airport, Mark Williams. They've got a giant distance in front of Troy Burke. So, Troy, you got to try and find some extra horsepower or hope there's a caution, because I don't think there's a chance you're going to be catching up to those top 3.
Yeah, all of the lap 1 shenanigans really separated this field, and it's working out great for the top 3. They've got about a 2.5 second margin back to Troy Burke there in the 01 car. So, like you just said, Dylan, unless there's a caution flag here, these guys are going to have to really get on the wheel to run them down, and running side by side, battling for the 4th position is not going to help their cause. The 157 John Byron will slide underneath of Burke. Burke bounces off that inside curb. He's able to gather it up. TJ Majori and Joey Stiers side by side behind them for position number 6, and it looks like Medor will take it over and squeeze underneath of Burke, make a little bit of contact to try to contest for position 5.
Yeah, Medor sliding to the bottom now. They're going to go toe-to-toe. Medor is going to get by, but here comes Joey Stiers in the Napa machine. He's got the 01 on the outside.
See, the thing, too, is if you don't make the transfer spots in this race, you still want to be as close as you can to the front of the field, because that will determine the starting order for the last chance qualifiers. And the deeper you are in that race, well, it's almost setting yourself up for some disappointment of not making the main feature. It's still Moorcroft in front of Conrad Murphy and Mark Williams. They are on their own island as they pace around the 3/8 of a mile legendary short track, if I can get it out of my mouth, but you're constantly turning left here pretty much. You can see the way the rubber's laying on the road. You let up just a little bit on the straightaways, which is hardly a straightaway. You're practically cranking left the entire time, but you got to do that if you want to try and finish P1.
Riding on board now with Cody Moorcroft, your race leader in car number 80. He's going to come across the stripe for the white flag. And pay attention to that wheel, just like Dylan said. These straightaways really are not all that straight. Very rarely does that red stripe around the steering wheel ever go to the neutral position. He's always cranking on that wheel around that racetrack, and he will crank on it to victory lane as he will win heat race number 3. That is Cody Moorcroft in car number 80. Conrad Murphy qualifies in second place, and Mark Williams will hang on in position number 3 to qualify in himself. John Byron, Troy Burke, Joey Stiers, Trevor Lamb, and TJ Medor, they are on the outside. They will have to go to one of the consolation races here in just a little while. Heat race number 4 taking the grid right now here, gentlemen. It looks like we got a little cloud cover to change some of the atmosphere weather for this event.
Well, we're going to start gridding all ready for the next heat race. 12 laps on the board. The 38, Travis Roma will set the pole. He's going to have 33 of Brett Suggs on the outside, one of the lone Americans in this series.
Derek Gates and Daniel Vitch in the 29, starting in row number 2.
Completing your top 5 starters in car number 9 is Campbell Delaney, and he will have the 67 of Wade Craswell as a dancing partner on the outside of row 3.
The field in the 7th position is the 4 car of Jake Scrivens. You were talking about the track here. Very short straights here. No banking on the back and the front stretch. Complicated track.
It's a complicated track for sure. It's certainly one you got to try and master, and a lot of drivers have told us that this isn't particularly their favorite track to race on iRacing, but it's something that we kind of all agreed upon. Tim Terry scheduling this. He picked this track, and well, it's a good old-fashioned bull ring in the northeast of the states, and heat race number 4 is going to kick off with Travis Roma, and second place in the points, Brett Suggs. He falls right behind the 38 car. Meanwhile, they're all fanning out as we come out of turn number 2.
The battle for 4th place trying to die down. Campbell Delaney in the 009 machine, or the 109 machine rather, will take that position over. Daniel Vitch stuck on the top side. He will go into battle with the 67 away Craswell. Craswell down on the bottom. Vitch giving him plenty of space and will sacrifice that spot. Finally has some room to jump down to the inside curve and will fall in line in position number 6. So not the best. Oh, he's sideways there in the center 1 and 2. Daniel Vitch struggling early on here in heat race number 4.
Yes, definitely seeing a little bit of slicky wicky on this track surface right now. A lot different from week number 1 with no tires in the pits for tonight. Just 75 laps will be on the board for the main. But right now, this heat race, 4 laps completed. Travis Roma is your leader with Brett Suggs in that winter edition, number 33, all over the back bumper.
Winter on the car. As Showtime just told us, that paint scheme looks badass, but hey, a nice car doesn't necessarily mean a fast car, but that doesn't seem to be the case there for Mr. Suggs, as he is all over the bumper of Travis Roma. 2 great looking cars in front. Mikey, you said it, the weather changes here. Track is a lot slicker than the last time we were here, and with all the fast competitors coming up later tonight in the Highway 311 North River Market 75, that's just going to make it for an exciting race coming up here. But action still picking up with Brett Suggs all over Travis Roma. Will he try and make a move to try and get further up the starting grid?
Suggs putting the pressure on thick on Travis Roma's rear bumper. 4.5 laps to go. Lap number 8 will go off this time. Now, these two drivers, they are teammates with each other, so I would assume that they're going to play nicely. RBR teammates. I would think that they're going to play nicely. They're not going to get too aggressive, and they got a lot of space to work with. Derek Gates is about a second behind them. There's no real pressure for these guys. Just log the lap, see what you can learn, and take your team into the feature event with no issue.
I don't know about you, but teammates, once you get on that asphalt, there is no teammates, isn't it? But we got Suggs all over the back of Travis Roma. He's going to be looking for a position. Will he save it for the last lap? as they coast around. They're playing safe. A lot of separation now with our top two. And in our third position on the transfer spot, the 24 car of Derek Gates. He's got Campbell Delaney sitting on the outside.
Yeah, and Campbell's a bit further back from Derek, so Campbell most likely going to have to rely on the hooligan races coming up. One more to go here at Oxford Plains Speedway. Roma and Suggs, teammates, RBR stablemates. It's like a wrestling stable. They're going to stay 1-2 and have no issues as they come into turn 3 and 4. Roma's going to win heat race number 4. Suggs crosses the line second. Derek Gates moving on to the big show tonight. Delaney, Vitch, Craswell, and Scrivens will all have to scrap it out in the hooligan races coming up in just a moment.
Final opportunity for the drivers not already qualified for tonight's 75-lap feature event coming up here. We'll do it twice. We have 2 LCQs, consolations, hooligan races, however you want to decide it. 35 laps, the distance, top 3 cars, just like the heat races, will transfer on. And here's your front row here for the first one. Starting on the pole in car number 5 is Craig Tully, and he will have the 157 machine of John Byron on the outside starting second.
On the inside of row number 2, John Gahan will be in the 16 machine. He's going to have Troy Burke on the outside in the 01.
Young Tanton Woolridge starting 5th on the inside of row number 3. And it looks like now Joey Stiers in the 23. He's on track, and he's going to try and make the big show tonight.
Row number 4 will consist of the number 51 machine, the Rowdy Energy car. That is Nick Pautier. And on the outside of the 51, we have the 08 car of Trevor Lamb.
Split the field, Ryan Twinham will make up the field in the 8 machine. Boys, I don't know what's going on here at the TCM League. But Tanton Woolridge and Craig Tully have been paired up every single heat race.
It's like a wrestling storyline, Mike. You gotta have a little bit of drama. We're building up to the big WrestleMania of iRacing coming up at the end of the season. You never know. But that's true though. Tully will be starting first, Tanton Woolridge starting 5th. And that just adds a little bit of electricity, a little bit of drama potentially. Again, top 3 are moving on tonight. And there's 35 laps in this first LCQ to figure it out. Who's making the big show and who's going to be watching the rest here on Vidane TV? We'll find out in just a moment. Tully gets the green flag. We are back racing here at Oxford Plains Speedway.
John Byron trying to do his best to drop down to the inside there, going into turn number 1, but he was not able to do so. The 23 machine of Joey Stiers is spun around. He collects that car coming off the back straightaway. Single car incident, no caution, so a tough start for Joey Stiers in his final opportunity to try to qualify for tonight's race. He's going to need a caution flag. He may get it as Tanton Woolridge is climbing one of these sand dunes on the inside of the racetrack. Stays in its holster. We stay green despite some of these quick little incidents here on the opening laps.
Few early incidents between now and earlier in the first 3 laps. There are no yellow flags. We're going to stay green. Craig Tully, your leader in the 5 car. A little slick there. We got a car. Gahan coming around. Still green as Gahan just fell all the way to the back.
Yeah, these single car incidents don't. Oh my gosh, another one. Burke this time. They're all spinning out.
Slicky Wicky.
I think the track is super slick, Mike, because I noticed Gahan, he was all over the place before he eventually lost it. Burke loses it. I don't know if he's trying to wait for the caution flag to come out, but they're not bringing it out. It's staying there in the pocket of the flag man. We are still green flag racing with Tully still in front. Now it's John Byron and Nick Pautier in the 51 in that Rowdy Energy number 51. Looks like Kyle's ride there at the Snowball Derby. Now he's in P3, so wow, Kyle, we've already had a giant shakeup, and we're not even a good chunk of the race in.
Quite surprised to see these drivers struggle so much throughout the course of the night thus far. The track has actually cooled down by 5 degrees, down to 91 degrees Fahrenheit from 96 earlier on. So the track's starting to cool down just a little bit, but it's playing treacherous for these drivers. Can tell you that Troy Burke, he made a trip down pit road. He has lost the lead lap. He's actually 2 laps down right now, so it's going to be very difficult for him to get back on the lead lap and contend for a transfer position in this race. The field right now pretty well spread out. Craig Tully's got a 1.5 second lead over John Byron. Byron holds about 9/10 of a second over Nick Pache in third. And then he got to go back another 8/10 of a second or so to get to Ryan Twinham in position number 4. Pretty good start for Twinham thus far. He started scratch on the field. He's halfway there, one spot out right now, sitting in P4.
Yeah, just looking at the 8 car of Ryan Twinham, looks like he's trying a different line from the rest of the field. He's coming out real wide outside of that sticky icky stuff that's down there on the bottom. But it looks like I figured that we'd have a bit of more sticky in the inside with after all these heat race qualifiers. But we've seen quite a few incidents here in this last chance for romance where cars are getting real loose in the corner here.
It actually looks like, too, that Nick Pache is starting to close in on Byron as well. So we may have a three-way dance for second here. We definitely have a two-way dance for the third position with the 8 car all over the back. Twinham has caught Nick Pache. Nick's got a whole lot of 8 car in his rear mirror. And with this slick track, Kyle, bump and runs, that's probably going to chuck your person in front of you all the way up the track.
Slick racetrack, not much of an outside line right now. Going to be pretty treacherous to lay the bumper on these guys tonight. If we're seeing some issues with handling thus far, well, just imagine a little bit of pressure on your back bumper while doing so. We'll see what the Under Armour number 8 machine of Ryan Twinham decides to do here. Still plenty of laps left to go. We'll click off lap number 15 at the stripe this time, so 20 laps to go. He's got nobody out behind him. He's got a over 4.5 seconds back to John Gahan, so he can afford it to be patient here. He can be aggressive if he wants to. Whatever he decides is necessary, he can do. The world is at his hands right now, trying to study that 51 machine Apache and see where he's better than him and where he can take over.
Well, we're at the cross flags as Pache and Twinham are now about to sneak up on the 157 of John Byron as they close that door. It could be a three-way battle for P2 as they slowly starting to close in on that real estate. Oh, a little bump from the 8. Twinham giving it to the back of Pache.
Yeah, I think Pache clipped the curb there going in turn 1 and 2, and it kind of stuttered his momentum. And the 8, whoa, 8 a little loose there coming out of turn 4. So this track is slick for the leaders, but again, he goes wide. He's able to kind of regain the disadvantage that he kind of gave himself as he dives in again deep, really deep there in turn 3. And there he loses a few tenths of a second. He's going really deep in the corners, but he seems to be a little better on the backstretch, but he can't be doing that for much longer because eventually he's going to be going towards the peanut stand.
Looks like he's starting to gather some things up now. You're riding right on board with Ryan Twinham's number 8 machine as he is just about on the back bumper of Nick Pache for that third and final transfer position. Neither one of these drivers want to go home. Twinham catches the curb, gets sideways off of 4, has to run it over going into turn number 1. He is going to lose all sorts of time on Nick Pache, and that's exactly what the driver of the number 51 machine wanted to see. Now he's got some room to work with, and he can relax for a few moments.
Yeah, it almost looked like strategy as Twinham was hitting the curb on that inside, a real crazy feature here at Oxford, but it looked like he was almost using the curb to get the car to turn in the corners, but it did not work out for him on that last lap as he lost a lot of momentum. And Nick Pache and the rest of the field, Craig Tully and John Byron checking out, but Twinham trying to get back on the hammer with 24 gone and 11 to go.
Pache looking around the number 157 of Byron. Tully, don't worry about him. He is in his own area code right now, going through some lap traffic. Our eyes are on the battle for second, third, and fourth. There's Tully on your screen. Back to the big battle here, and it looks like that Twinham is starting to reel in the 51 and the 157 again. We know he's got a really fast car. He's cranking out some of the fastest lap times of the race so far, and he dives deep again in turn 1. It works for him, but until he clips that curb again, he may be completely sent sideways as he almost was a handful of laps ago.
3 drivers battling for 2 transfer positions with less than 10 laps to go in our first hooligan race here for the TCM Weekly iRacing Series. We've been caution-free the entire way thus far. We've had a few single-car spins and slides off the racetrack, but race officials keeping the caution flag in its holster, and I think we're seeing the benefit of it here, gentlemen. These guys starting to close up on each other once again. We've got some lap traffic that's going to play a factor here before this one is over. 7 laps to go as they click off lap number 28. John Byron looks like he might be extending the gap just a little bit. Even messes up going into turn number 1 there, opens up the bottom, and here comes Ryan Twinham. Twinham looking for the third and final transfer position. They are side by side off of turn number 4.
Twinham with a little bit of advantage on the inside. He's going to clear now the 51 machine. 51 of Nick Pache is going to have a lot of work for himself in the next 5 laps. But John Byron now may have a challenger. The 8 car is in position, but he is coming on strong on the 157 of John Byron. Craig Tully is checked out for a Wednesday night drive. He's pretty much a shoe-in as long as he doesn't mess up on the inside curve.
Byron's been riding easy the entire time in second, but now he's got a lot of pressure from a hungry Ryan Twinham. He's got third, so he would be making the show, but he wants to try and get second, and this could be a good thing for Pache, Kyle. If these two take each other out, no, the 8 almost takes each other out. Now he hits the 51. Twinham really fast, clips the curb again, and he jinxed himself that time. He is falling back now to 4th after he was up to 3rd. And things change quickly here in iRacing, and you just saw it. Twinham with the fastest car of the race has clipped the curb again, but Pache is still in 3rd.
Hang on here, gentlemen. Twinham nearly spun that 08 of Trevor Lamb around. I don't know if maybe... Oh, Trevor Lamb's going to kick the dirt up in turn number 1, slide down to the inside curb. He gathers it back up. The white flag will fly, so we will not see a caution flag. I believe your top 3 are going to finish up pressure-free here as long as they don't make any mistakes of their own. Craig Tully, car number 5, dominating fashion. He will win the first consolation race of the night. Waiting. There it is. John Byron crosses the finish line, 5.5 seconds behind Craig Tully, and the crazy battle ends with Nick Pache grabbing that 3rd and final transfer position. Heartbreak for Ryan Twinham. Gave it his all. That's for absolutely sure. He comes up 1 spot short. And how about John Gahan, guys? 5th place for him. He is out of tonight's feature event. He is tied for 6th place in the points right now after week 1. So this very well may be that drop week that Gahan has to use.
Definitely a shakeup in the points. You know, these guys not making it into the main is going to be a big factor in the points as we get into week number 2. 75 laps will be on the board for the big show tonight. Our final last chance of qualifying coming up on the board here as we start the grid right now.
Lining him up here after a very exciting first last chance qualifier. The bar has been set for these drivers, and Riley Duncan and Campbell Delaney are going to be on the front row for hooligan race number 2.
Starting on row number 2 is the 05 machine of Chantel Popple, and on the outside in car number 29 is Daniel Vitch.
And on the inside of row number 12, the 41 car from Torbay, Newfoundland, Jason Goss and the DC Auto Machine. His partner crime on the outside, the 67 of Wade Craswell.
Row Quattro, Todd Tufts and Jake Scribbins in that number 4 car.
And completing the field on the 5th and final row, car number 09 down on the bottom, that is Tony Wright. And scratch on the field tonight, car number 7, that is TJ Medore. So our final qualifying race of the evening. 35 laps for hooligan race number 2. Top 3 cars will qualify. If that first race taught us anything, you need to minimize your mistakes, keep that car pointed straight, and you cannot rely on any caution flags because they may not come out.
Dylan, I don't think Kyle knew how to count to 5 in French.
Or Spanish.
Well, I could have said Cinco, but Dylan, since you just said
Cinco.
Quattro, why would I go back-to-back Spanish?
Because we went back-to-back Francais.
Next time, let's do it in Newfoundland. Tree. Let's go. Lights out on the pace car. We're going back green. Final last chance.
We'll find out here as we get the iRacing pace rig off the track. Riley Duncan gets the green flag. Heck of a start. Campbell Delaney in second. And Pottle in third. It would be very impressive for that young driver, Mikey, to try and make this big show. But she's got Jason Goss all in her rear mirror. things are going to get real intense, at least by the end, but we're already seeing cars swapping all over the place right now.
Goss pressuring the back bumper of the 05 machine. Cannot find his way underneath the puddle just yet. Top two cars. Small breakaway ahead of this field. Behind them, Jason Goss looking very strong. Peeking to the inside once again. No space. He'll back off and fall back in line. That kind of checks up Wade Cresswell just a little bit. Cresswell opens the bottom for Daniel Vitch, but Vitch not able to squeeze in underneath. Side by side, a couple cars behind them. TJ Medor and Tony Wright battle for position number 8.
Yeah, pretty much single file coming out. 29.
Slam that cord in, Mikey.
Toss the mic.
Mike is having mic problems.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, ain't that something? You know, you need to get un new mic. Lap 5 of 35, and right now it's still Riley Duncan and Campbell Delaney in front. Goss has made the pass around Pottle. So Goss, we saw how fast they were in their heat race earlier. Maybe a bit too fast, maybe a bit too liberal with their bumper in some of the corners, but hey, it doesn't matter as long as you make the 75 lapper tonight. Brought to you by Highway 311 North River Market, and you can check them out. Check them out and say hey to Terry and get your Christmas gifts in time for the big day coming up in, my goodness, just over 2 weeks here. But we're having some pre-winter fun tonight at Oxford Plains, lap 7, and now Goss. Whoa, big run. At least he tried. He had a hammer on the brakes there as Delaney almost cut the nose off that car completely.
Yeah, Jason Goss is showing a lot of speed here early on in this final hooligan race. Has to back off and regather to make another run on Campbell Delaney for that second place position. I'm curious if maybe he realizes, if he paid attention to the points, that his fellow 6th place points runner John Kahan is on the outside of this race, will not make it. So as long as he can qualify in and have a strong finish, he'll be able to break that tie. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that he'll stay in 6th place or move up the point standings, but he'll definitely be able to break the tie with John Kahan as long as he's able to qualify. Lapped car of Todd Tufts right in front of Campbell Delaney. Goss is right back on the back bumper. Looks like Tufts is going to give them the inside line. They'll follow on through, and that battle will rage on coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, things are just heating up as Goss half car is now in the 109. Checks up just a little bit as Delaney gets on that inside curve, that dangerous position. But Pottle takes a sneak peek at the inside, but backs out of it. Almost close quarters between the 41 and the 05 of Pottle. Pottle wanting to get into the show here as 12 laps are completed, and look at the train coming through.
Yeah, don't forget about the 05 car. If you're watching right now, 2 Newfoundlanders going for the second place position, but the 05 on the outside looking in. Goss would transfer there in one of the transfer spots, but he's been trying every which way to try and get around Campbell Delaney, going on the inside, going on the outside. Campbell was able to block coming out of turn 4 a handful of laps ago. Does Jason try and just stay in P3? This is a transfer spot again. Riley Duncan, meanwhile, like we just saw in the first LCQ race, leader well out in front. Here's a move now as the lap car's got to try and move out of the way. Delaney again shuts the door on Jason Goss, and let's see the run that Jason's able to get there in turn 3, peeking his nose underneath the 09 car, backs off a little bit, falls in single formation.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear here, Dylan, that Jason Goss is not comfortable with position number 3. He wants to get around Campbell Delaney, but Campbell wants to keep Jason behind him. Campbell's got a cushion with that 41 car. He's not in immediate danger. If he gives up that position, then Chantal Pottle right on the back bumper. That is the pressure of the transfer position. You're riding on board with Pottle's number 05 machine as she looks ahead on this battle for position number 2. She hasn't been able to quite put up as much pressure on Goss's back bumper as what Goss is doing with Campbell Delaney, but she's right there to take advantage in case these two get out of control.
Pottle, the lone lady here tonight, represent the ladies, the 05 machine, in a very good position because the 41 and the 9 car continue to battle. Goss hoping the 9 car washes up the track. It is a slick night here. Little slicky wicky, little contact here, and this could be opportunity for Pottle.
They all save it. Unbelievable. They all hammer brakes. The brakes are working. They know that for sure after Campbell Delaney washed up the track, tried cutting down again, and now they do the same move in front of Goss. They're going to take each other out at this point. Goss is going to try and get around Delaney. There's no messing around now. Goss dives deep, hits Delaney, contact. Goss is able to go around, follow right behind Pottle. Pottle hooking on the train there, and contact now. Pottle and Delaney are slamming into each other. Pottle hanging on to it. Look out, the 29's going around nearly.
We are short track racing on Vidane TV, ladies and gentlemen. Campbell Delaney, Chantel Pottle beating, banging for that final transfer position. Delaney tried to slam the door on Pottle. Wasn't quite clear, but is able to hang on to that position. Pottle regains control and will now try to track down that 109 of Campbell Delaney. How aggressive do you think that 05 is going to be here if she's able to catch the back bumper of that 109 there, Mike?
Oh, for sure. 12 laps to go here. Pottle has seen it all in this last chance qualifier. She did not make the race in week number 1. She wants to represent the ladies here. She's going to be aggressive as she picks up the pedal here and gets to the back bumper to 109.
Oh, she's faster than Campbell Delaney, clearly. Campbell just doesn't seem to have the handling as they had at the beginning of the race. The slick conditions as the track, you said, Kyle, it's cooling off, but it's just not agreeing with some of the cars as both cars wash up the track a little bit. Pottle all over the back of Delaney, and again, with about 10 laps to go, and you have P3, you have that last position to make the 75 lapper in front of you. There could be a little bit of a tag and run away.
Without a doubt. And don't look too far back behind that 05 car. TJ Medora and Daniel Vitch not too far out of this one. Those two drivers could close in and make this a 4-car battle for that final transfer position. Jason Goss has done everything he's needed to do. He's cleared the 109 and has absolutely left him. The top 2 cars, Riley Duncan, Jason Goss, they are very comfortable right now, hoping they don't see a caution flag in these final 8 laps, but that's not the case for the cars behind them. Looks like at the moment Delaney and Pottle are keeping this battle amongst the 2 of them, but Pottle coming back up, giving a slight little tap to that back bumper. I remember what you did to me here a handful of laps ago. I'm not going to let you hang on to this one easy. She's going to put some pressure on. She wants to make her first feature of the season.
You got a really good girl voice, Kyle. The 05 doing a great job here. This is the battle of the night here in the LCQ. 6 laps to go, and Pottle cranking it, trying to use that inside curve to get a little bit of a momentum coming around the corner, but losing about a half a car now on the 9 car. This is going to get tangly in the last 5 laps, and Dylan, you know what tangly is.
Oh, bye. I know what it is, and that worked for Pottle as they're all over the bumper again at Delaney. 5 laps to go. When do you apply the pressure? Do you wait until the final lap, or do you try and get that comfort a handful of laps before? Pottle, again, we're on board with her right now. Kind of clips the curb again with 4 laps remaining. Riley Duncan has dominated this race with a capital D. Pottle, they're earning their paycheck tonight if they're able to make the big show. Oh, Delaney washes up the track. Here's the opportunity. Pottle underneath Delaney. This is the battle for the transfer spot. Handful of laps to go. Pottle grabs P3, but we may have a crossover, Kyle.
Delaney gave the bumper to Pottle in the center, 1 and 2 there, and here comes TJ Medora and Daniel Vitch. 4 cars under a blanket for the final transfer spot. 2 laps of racing to go around the Extra Plains Speedway. We've got lap traffic up ahead as well. All sorts of elements coming into the mix here. Delaney sideways off of turn number 2. Pottle trying to run away and hide.
White Silk out, and Pottle with the move of the night on Delaney. Will she be able to hang on to it here as we count down the final corners? Your leader, Riley Duncan, in the 97, coming around for checkers. Your 2 Newfoundlanders, the 41 and the 05, representing the ladies here tonight. Chantel Pottle making the move.
Holy mackerel. Okay, if there's a hard Charger award, it goes to her tonight. She about wrecked that car along with Goss and Campbell Delaney. She makes the show. Delaney does not. And that's going to throw us in here to our main event tonight. The Highway 311 North River Market 75. Got to try and catch our breath after that one. A little warm-up for the drivers who have been waiting to get this thing going. We'll get the starting grid ready in just a moment. Whew, boys, what a last chance qualifier to send us into the main event tonight.
We've seen some fantastic racing up to this point, and just to remind you guys again, tonight's feature event, 25 laps shorter than what last week's feature event was. So You have so much little time to really go in this feature. You got to get up on it. You got to make something happen here, especially if you're one of the drivers that just transferred in through the LCQs. Starting way back outside of the top 20, 75 laps to make it happen. We could be in for a very entertaining show tonight.
Oh, for sure. And you know what's going to be really interesting once we get into the 75-lap main is our top qualifiers that do not get into the heat race and do not have that extra time in the battles here and not knowing how slick this is. It seems to be tightening up just a little bit. So what we'll see in the 75, we'll just see in just a moment as the weather is changing slightly, like you said, Kyle. But we got about a minute and a half before we go back to green flag and warm up right now. Chris Roman at the top of the board with a 15. Oh, Barkhouse now changing that. Barkhouse is your quickest car.
You warmed up the seat for Tim Terry, Mikey. Tim Terry in the announcer booth before he goes back to the scorer officials booth. Tim, man, well, we've had some excellent racing tonight so far.
Yeah, the heats were a little bit wild and woolly, some of them, but we've got 26 cars getting ready to go again. Want to thank Terry Nelson and Highway 311 North River Market for coming on board, not only this race, but for the finale as well. Gives these drivers in the top 5. We're also going to make one random draw for a $5 extra on their payout at the end of the season. So want to thank Terry Nelson for that. We still got some race sponsorships available if you want to hop on board and you're watching this and want to help out the guys a little bit for the show that they are putting on this evening. But yeah, so far so good. 26 cars have made the feature, 75 laps tonight. Last week was clean and green, and I think I caught Kyle at the end of it when I was coming up here that the weather has changed. The track temperature in practice was 107 degrees. It's down to like 90, 91. It's partly cloudy now, 81 degrees ambient temperature. Humidity's gone up a little bit as well, so the track has changed. The race time, I believe, in the server is going to flip back to about 5:30 when we go green. So that's going to change things as well. It's going to be a fun little 75 lap dash here.
Yeah, it certainly will as we're finishing up warming up, Kyle.
Yeah, checkered flag flying here for the warm-up session. Drivers getting the final laps in, final turns around the Oxford Plains Speedway, getting ready for this feature event. If we have seen anything from our qualifying races is that this thing is going to be intense. It is going to be a white-knuckle brawl here at the Oxford Plains Speedway for week number 2 of the TCM Weekly iRacing Series. So here we go, gentlemen. Let's take you through the starting lineup for tonight's feature event. 75 laps in distance, and your top 8 cars. Again, they qualified in through the qualifying session before our heat races. Your front row will be Ashton Tucker in the 2 Machine, looking for redemption after last week, and Keith McClellan in the Bud Light number 30 on the outside.
On the inside of row number 2, the 21 car, Roger Down. His partner will be Rational, Richard Drake in the 141.
The Godfather, Ryan Messer, had internet problems last week. He's back here tonight looking for a good finish. Outside of him, the 83 of Chris Roma.
The Napa Auto Parts number 24 machine of Jake Goodwin will line up in 7th. And last week's feature winner in the season opener, car number 15, starting 8th. That is Matthew Barkhouse.
And in the next row, the 78, the race winner of heat race number 1, Johnny Fitzpatrick. He's going to have the 52 machine of Nick Mott on the outside.
Cody Moorcroft and Travis Roma start in row number 6. That's P11 and P12.
Row number 7 will find the 17 of Brad Hayes starting 13th, and Jonathan Pollard in the 07 starts 14th.
And at 15, Conrad Murphy in the 89. He'll have the North Carolina native, the 33 of Brett Suggs.
Todd Cousins, Corey Howland, Mark Williams, Derek Gates, Craig Tully, Riley Duncan, John Byron, Jason Pache, and last but not least, they earned to get in this race tonight, Chantal Pottle at the back end of this field. Time to go racing for the Highway 311 North River Market 75 at Oxford Plains Speedway. Round number 2 of the TCM Weekly iRacing Series kicks off with Ashton Tucker in front like we saw last week.
Tucker led a lot of laps in last week's feature event, got tangled up with a lap car, got sent tail, and did not have the finish that he was looking for. Tonight he looks for redemption. He leads lap number 1 over Roger Down in 2nd. Ryan Messer clears for 3rd. The 30 machine of Keith McClellan struggling on that outside line. He is battling to hang on to position number 5 over Rational Richard Drake. Drake will take it over, and now McClellan has a line to drop down on the bottom. He goes from 2nd to 6th, or to 5th in these opening laps.
Chris Roma hanging out to dry outside the 78 of Fitzpatrick. Little drag racing door to door with the 15. Matthew Barkhouse, quick car in the warm out, got with the open setup. Probably got a little bit quicker than qualifying as he's trying to move up to the field. Man on a mission, the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse.
The cool thing with iRacing is the changes in track temperature and the overall track. So compared to last week, quite different, as Ashton Tucker is still in front of Roger Down and Ryan Messer going through the field here in the early get-go, and 25 less laps tonight. Open setup, drivers can do whatever they want with these cars. One thing as well, it looks like we got a car well outside as they're moving out of the way of the leaders. That is the 024 car moving out of the way. That's Derek Gates. No extra set of tires tonight, so you don't got to worry about that. But you can come down to pit road and make adjustments if you want, if there are some cautions later tonight.
Yeah, it's worth reminding everybody that this is an open setup race, so not every single driver in this series is running under the same car setup. You can tweak on things, you can adjust your car during the race, you can adjust it to what the weather is doing. The weather going to be a difference every single week, so we're not used to seeing that here with any of the Tim's Corner Motorsports races, but we do in this series, these drivers not only having to worry about going out and dropping the hammer and being as fast and as competitive as they can be, but they got to be intelligent setup builders too, and be able to tweak on their car and do the right changes to have a successful race.
Very interesting with the open setup of these guys putting the time in throughout the week. A lot of practice on this racetrack. This is their second week peak here at Oxford Plains here in Maine. But Ashton Tucker finished third in race of week number 1. We're having a look at him now, our leader, as Roger Down tries to chase him. But Ashton Tucker, well out front right now.
He had some heartbreak last week, Mike. If you remember, Matthew Barkhouse made the big move after they got stuck in some slower traffic, and then there was contact with Ashton Tucker in a slower car. Still got a top 3, and he came out with the points lead as he was the pole sitter last week, and he was the pole sitter again tonight. That's just going to add on to his point total, as we can see Derek Gates. We got a spinner, it looks like in the back. That is the 78 of Fitzpatrick, second place finisher last week. And right now he's falling further in the field. Still a lot of race left to go, but that's going to take some time to try and catch up as you're deep. But here's our first caution of the night, boys.
Caution flag has flown. We have a car in trouble over in turn number 4. It's the 41 of Jason Goss. He had some help from the 57 of Corey Hallett. Caution flag flying for the first time here tonight. And Paul, you've been on a bit of a break. We've seen some good racing. Not a lot of cautions throughout the night thus far, but we get to bring it back in for another Kick-Ass Beef Jerky instant replay.
Yeah, we're going to have more of these cautions because when you guys are doing all the work and I'm just pushing the buttons.
Easy on what you wish for there, fella.
No, I'm just saying I need a little bit more kick-ass beef jerky. But we're taking a look here at the number 41 car of Jason Goss. Gets a little bit of help, as you mentioned earlier. And that's the 51. Just kind of drives in there a little bit too hot and gives him a second tap, sends him on around. So doesn't even bend the sheet metal in the back of that car. So that's good news there. And you don't have to pit for tires or anything like that. So that may affect the 41 car later on in the run. But no damage or no big hits or anything. And he's able to see, you see it right there. He's able to stay out, rather, in front of the number 2 car of Ashton Tucker. So still going to restart on the lead lap. Going to have 24 cars. Check that. All 26 cars still on this lead lap.
26 cars, 16 laps completed as they try to line them up here. We'll probably lose another lap here as the pace car brings them around. Ashton Tucker is the storyboard, on top of the storyboard here at the TCM League. Back-to-back weekends. Ashton Tucker dominating here, boys. Roger Down, Ryan Messer, your top 3. Rational Richard Drake having a great run here in the 4th position in the 141 machine.
The real cool thing, boys, with this series is, well, these drivers are going to get a chance to win some extra cash, and who doesn't want to win some extra money? But there's also contingency awards as well. There's the qualifying award, which right now Ashton Tucker is leading that. He has had 2 poles in a row. There's also the cleanest driver award for the driver who has the least amount of incident points over the season. And that's something we haven't really addressed a whole lot because the racing has been pretty darn clean so far. First race, not too many problems, and in this race as well. And the LCQs we saw tonight, there's a little bit of bumping and riding, but Kyle, you're a pro here at iRacing. Incident points, they can build up really quick, and you may not be intentionally driving hard.
Well, they really can, and in a race like this where incident points don't affect your safety rating like an official race, a lot of drivers may not be thinking about the incident points or really may not care when it comes to beating and banging and laying a bumper to the guy in front of you. I collected a 4X, that doesn't really matter, it's an unofficial race. Well, it does here for this series because there is money on the line if you can stay clean. So you definitely want to watch those incident points, and each race they have a 25 incident point limit cap, so if you reach that, you'll get disqualified. I would be shocked if anybody gets that high in a 75 lap race, but it's worth noting since it is a limit on the race.
Well, on that restart to the 21 of Roger Down gets pushed all the way back to position number 4, opening the door for Ryan Messer and Keith McClellan. Will look in position number 5, the 15 machine of Matthew Barkhouse, now taking over position number 4, and he's on a run here as they try to come up through. Chris Roma doing quite well in position number 6 as he's a front runner now, moving up through the field.
2 New Brunswick drivers in front, both hailing from one of the big maritime provinces, and then Keith McClellan right behind in that number 30, and last week's winner Matthew Barkhouse all over the back of the 30 car. Patience, it's key though as we're reaching the 3rd mark of this race tonight, the Highway 311 North River Market 75, with no stages like in NASCAR, with no extra set of tires. It's all pretty much going to be laid on the line here and laid on the asphalt to try and find the winner. And with another heavy field of 26 cars, there shouldn't be any slower cars coming into the line of the leaders anytime soon, but they're still bunched up from 1st all the way back to 4th.
Gotta say, it's really impressive to see that number 1 Ryan Messer running so well tonight. He had all sorts of problems last week, did not even turn a lap in qualifying in the heat races, missed the show. Here he is tonight. He qualified for tonight's feature event through the qualifying session. He is running up in 2nd place, putting a lot of pressure on Ashton Tucker right now. And he's got a lot of pressure from behind, too. Keith McClellan's right there. Last week's winner, Matthew Barkhouse, right behind McClellan. So these drivers, they cannot slip up. One mistake, and you're going to lose a handful of positions. But it's good to see Ryan Messer, a guy that we weren't able to talk about last week, putting his name into the mix and being a competitor tonight.
Well, the top 4 kind of almost checking out now, working in tandem. Ryan Messer, number 2, McClellan, Barkhouse. Could we see another repeat from week number 1 with Tucker and Barkhouse? Tabernacle.
It looked like, Mikey, that a car was stopped at the bottom of the track. A couple of spinners, usually a single car, had a yellow flag. In fact, I think I saw Craig Tully spin out on the restart, and there's that yellow flag out now. And that's more than one car from what I can see. It looks like the 52 and maybe the 89 car. That's Nick Mott and the 52 are all tangled up. But I'm not here to talk about the cautions and the replays. We have Mr. Paul Strickland to do that.
That is, in fact, why I'm here. We're going to take a look at another kick-ass beef jerky instant replay, and we'll pull it up and we'll give it to you live. We're actually going to take a look from the blimp high atop the Oxford Plains Speedway, and you can see he gets a little bit of a bump there from the 38, gets the car a little bit out of shape, and then as he enters the corner, he hits that bump, that speed bump down on the lower side of the racetrack, seems to collect it from there, and there you see another little bit of a shot from the 38, and a couple of other calls involved as well. The 42 gets a piece of it. 07 slows down and gets hit from the back there. But again, not a huge hit. Luckily, there's not really too much here at this racetrack for these drivers to drive up into. So it's good news there. It's going to restart. Doesn't lose a lap. Looks like we're going to have 25 cars on the lead lap. The number's 57. Corey Hallett currently scored 4 laps down, Kyle.
Pretty good stuff thus far here. We're already closing in on the halfway mark of tonight's event, and since we're getting close to that halfway mark, worth mentioning that some more money on the line for the halfway leader. Last week it was Ashton Tucker. He's trying to do it back to back, collect $10 once again tonight for leading the lap at halfway, and that once again is sponsored by our friends at Highway 311 North River Market for doing so. So Tucker wasn't able to get a good finish last week. He did mark up a couple extra dollars, going to try to do the same thing tonight. And if he can keep it out in front, the payout for the night, $20 to go to victory lane, $15 for second, $10 for third place, and fourth and fifth top 5 finishing positions will get you a $5 payout. So all kinds of money on the line here in this series, bonuses, contingency awards. Really cool to see these drivers getting treated well and having an opportunity to get something extra out of this.
Yeah, and all that money is going to add up throughout the season. It doesn't seem like a lot of money, but $10 here, $10 here, and then all of a sudden he's got enough for a case of beer. But Ashton Tucker is looking like, as they come through on lap number 34, he got a couple laps here, and he could collect that extra cash, like you said. I just want to take a moment to look at the 10 position. Brett Suggs now making his way into the top 10. He's on the move with that beautiful winter look.
Green flag is back out. We are 3 wide down the back straightaway as Suggs already moving his way up to 7th on that restart. That's going to be key. If there's a couple of cautions here and there, you need to pounce on those restarts as we got a car sideways, crooked as a question mark. Oh, baby, that was a car that was going the wrong way. The 83 car, Chris Roma, collects theirself. But, man, they have dropped a handful of positions. They were one of the front runners early on in this race. Crossing over the halfway point, that means Mr. Leader Ashton Tucker going to collect a little extra money from Highway 311 North River Market. Mr. Two-Time, he did that last week, and we'll see if he can actually hang on to get the big W tonight, the big checkered flag, as we are watching battles all over the place. Last week's winner, Matthew Barkhouse. Well, I thought he was going to make some contact with Suggs, but he falls right behind. Contact with the 141, Richard Drake and Fitzpatrick. We saw earlier that Fitzpatrick had a heck of a time all over the track on the apron, clipping the curb a little bit. Now they've collected themselves with a little further back in the field.
Brett Suggs is not wasting any time, gentlemen. He started back in position number 16. He is already up to 6th. So in the first half of this race, he is plus 10 on the differential. If we were playing DraftKings, he'd be a good driver to have. Trying to close in on that top 5 and really contend for another podium finish here tonight. He is all over the back bumper of Jake Goodwin's Napa Auto Parts number 24 machine, trying to crack into the top 5. And he's got to do it quickly. Matthew Barkhouse right behind him on that back bumper, putting on some pressure. You're riding on board with Brett Suggs. No, this is not his Twitch stream that he always streams to his viewers. This is right on the visor of the helmet of Brett Suggs, tapping the 24 Jake Goodwin, telling him it is time to move, my friend. I want that spot. Give it to me now. Brett Suggs looking for a top 5 spinner. Todd Cousins, center of turns 3 and 4. The 2 machine of Todd Cousins goes around. Solo spin. Caution flag is out once again.
Well, that's going to bring in Showtime Paul Strickland for a little beef jockey.
All about the beef jerky and all the different names you can call it. Kick-ass beef jerky. Giving us another replay. Rewinding the old VCR tapes that we've got down here at Vidane TV. VCR, eh? And see the two cars side by side with Riley Duncan in the 97, and it looks like they were just going for the same piece of real estate. And the 2-car spins. Nice spin. I'll give him an 8 out of 10, and didn't really go anywhere, so 10 out of 10 on the landing. Doesn't hit anything again, so grabs a gear and gets on going.
He gets on going. Is that a Connecticut way of saying it?
Yeah, something like that. I was trying to mash up a couple of different accents, and it just didn't work. We landed in, I don't know, southern Connecticut.
Stay there till it comes to you.
Stay there till it comes to you.
Well, here we go, boys. 45 completed. Caution here. And, we were talking about Brett Suggs. We were on board, and what a lot of pressure. Good win. But you know what? I don't think I'd want to be the 24 car with Suggs and Barkhouse coming up as hot as they were. Looked like the 24 did not have as quick as a car as Suggs.
No, I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be good because again, you've got 2 fast competitors chomping at the bit to try and get as many positions, and we're seeing they're kind of a little bit of a master on the restarts as we're going to double up the field again. Less than 30 laps to go in round number 2 of the TCM Weekly iRacing Series. Tonight's race brought to you by Highway 311 North River Market. Terry, big thanks again for chipping in on tonight's racing, supporting iRacing as we're in the, well, we're getting into the cold months now here in Nova Scotia at least. We were having some of that warm December weather, but things are cooling off, but things are heating up here at the virtual Oxford Plains Speedway with two young New Brunswickers in front, Ashton Tucker and Ryan Messer. You talk about the future of pro stock racing in the Maritimes, you're looking at it virtually through your computer or your phone right now. Ashton Tucker had a career year this summer in the Maritimes, a number of big wins. Ryan Messer, he's got a number of big wins under his belt. Didn't have a tremendous year in the pro stock this year. A lot of mechanical problems, but he's looking to rebound for a big old 2021 coming up. We'll see if he can get some iRacing victories under his belt before we go back to real racing. And we're back to iRacing now. Green flag is out for Ashton Tucker. Ryan Messer, smart man, falls right behind the number 2 car, and we're slipping and sliding all over the track further back.
Caution flag is out. Roger Down in car number 21. What a heartbreaker for Mr. Down. Spins it out of turn number 2. He got some help. He was inside the top 5 all night tonight, and unfortunately he spins it out. He had some contact with a couple other competitors. It looked like there was a chain reaction going into turn number 1, and unfortunately for Roger Down, he gets the worst end of it. Paul, we'll send it on back to you. It looks like there was some bumping and banging between a few cars, and Roger just got caught up in it.
Bumping and banking, focusing in here, the 21 car. You see the 15 gets into the 33 into the 24, shoots him on up into the 21s. Tough break, really nowhere for all that energy to go, except for into the quarter panel of the 21. So definitely a tough break, lost a lot of positions there, and didn't damage the car too bad. Doesn't look like he's too crazy bent out of shape, but definitely going to affect the tires on that car, as well as the track position. He's going to have to restart. Less than 20 laps to go in 25th position, so definitely a long shot for this point.
Well, boys, something new to this season here in the TCM League. The drivers had the option to tap the who caused the caution. If not, no fault caution. Everybody goes to the back of the pack. Makes it a little bit easier on the directors here. Now, Tim Terry and them is new rule this season. The tap for the caution. Not sure what was the claim there, but Brett Suggs now maintaining that position. He got a little loose from a little tap from the 15 from Matthew Barkhouse.
We're going to try this one again after a quick caution after that restart. We're approaching the 20 lap to go mark. 21. When we get the green flag and the pace lights will come off that car. Looks like about 20-ish laps to go when we finally get going here. Ashton Tucker, he's led every single lap so far. Ryan Messer, we'll see if he falls in line again. Mac Daddy, Keith McClellan, he's been in third the entire time. And Brett Suggs up to 4th on this restart. This will be huge as he is sitting 2nd in points. Don't forget about Mr. Fitzpatrick there in 5th position in last week's winner. Mr. Barkhouse in 6th. Pace lights about to come off here. We are refiring a 20-ish lap shootout to find a winner tonight.
Ryan Messer, great restart on the outside of Ashton Tucker. He actually leads that lap. He nicked Tucker at the line, and he's making something happen out there. He's trying to use that top side. He doesn't quite think he can get around him on the inside, so he's going to use the upper groove. He's starting to lose some momentum now. Keith McClellan trying to sneak in underneath of him. Messer falls out of the battle for the race lead, and here comes Keith McClellan, that familiar Bud Light number 30 ride, trying to go for the runner-up position. Caution flag will fly, and that battle is going to get put on hold. I believe Messer is going to get that position back. He may not. We'll have to see what happens here, but caution flag flying once again, trying to see who is in trouble there. And let's see here. Well, I'm not finding too much success here, Paul. Maybe you're doing a better job than me.
Not just sifting through the field. It seems like everybody's pointed in the right direction. We'll rewind the tape, see what we can't see here. Definitely a puff.
Got it. 97 of the 38 cars, turn 2, lap 56.
There we go. Pulling it up here on the old kick-ass beef jerky instant replay, and that is a gaggle of cars for sure. Getting a little bit tangly there in that gaggle of race cars. pulling up the old instant replay right now, and we're going to switch over to the chopper view, give you a full view of all these race cars on your screen at once. See the 07s there, gets in it with the 41, 38 gets a little bit wobbly, 52 wobbly, and it looks like the 97 of Riley Duncan checked up just a little bit, nowhere for the 5 car to go, so sends all 3 of those, well, 2 of those cars sideways, and nowhere really for the 5 to go, but into the door of the 97 car. So tough break for these guys, a lot of track position to try and have to make up. You can't even really rely on these guys going down pit road for a pit stop. So we'll see what they can do here with a couple laps to go, Kyle.
That we will. The intensity going to pick up just a little bit here as we click off some more laps here in the lake going. Getting closer down to the finish. Looks like we've actually got them doubled up already and getting ready to go back green. So 15 laps to decide it here once we get the green flag. I think the back half of the field is still a little unorganized. I believe we're still going to go green though. Looks like it. So here we go. 15 laps. Tucker, McClellan, front row. Green flag is out. Great start by Ashton Tucker. He'll take the lead. Ryan Messer trying to go back to P2. He gets a good start. Takes the spot immediately from Keith McClellan. McClellan's got a slight hole. Will he fit in? He does in front of John Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick getting a shot from Barkhouse. He's up into Brett Suggs. Fitzpatrick all sorts of sideways, but he hangs on. Barkhouse looks to the inside. He makes contact with Chris Roma. We're beating banging short track style, Mike.
Well, I want to replay of that. That was unbelievable. A lot of exchange of paint as Matthew Barkhouse and Roma continue with Roma on the outside. It's going to be tangly in the final 13 laps. I don't think this will be the final caution, but this is going to be wild as we count down the laps. Ashton Tucker trying to hold on to it in week number 2. It failed for him in week number 1, but this could be the night for Tucker in the O2 machine.
We've got a new P2, fellas. Keith McClellan made the pass around Ryan. Now Mac Daddy's going to try and put the hammer down to catch up to Ashton Tucker. Doing a good job so far, but Mike, I think I agree with you. I don't think that's going to be the last caution as Keith McClellan has reeled in with that Bud Light car all over the back of Ashton Tucker, coming up to less than 10 to go. Caution.
Riley Duncan in trouble once again. His miserable night continues. He is spun around at the top of turn number 4. Didn't see how he got that way, but he is spun around once again. He had some help. Looks like the 5 car, Craig Tully, got in the back of him and turned him around. Such a heartbreaker for Riley Duncan, guys. He looked so good in the qualification races tonight. Thought he might have had a good shot to charge through the field and get a good finish, but it just hasn't been that way for him tonight, Paul.
Yeah, tough break for Riley Duncan at number 97. The Vidane TV sponsored ride actually ran that paint scheme in the virtual Snowball Derby here last weekend and had a great race there. But you can actually see right here the 21 gets out of shape just a little bit, gets a little bit of a push around from the 89. Riley Duncan looks like he slowed up just a little bit, and unfortunately when the caution came out, got a tag from the 5, and he hit the hit that rumble, not the rumble strip, but the speed bump, and then gets a shot from the 2 cars. Looks like that car's been wrecking for about a lap and a half, and finally you see another puff of smoke there. Hits that apron just a little bit, and 5 car sends him right on out into the beach, out into the sandy stuff out there. So tough break for Riley Duncan. Not too much time left to go. Restarting, it looks like he actually lost a lap on that. There you see the leaders go by there. So going to be the only car 1 lap down. The only other car out of the race right now is number 57 of Corey Hallett.
Well, boys, I think we got ourselves a shootout. Shootout. Little hoedown.
It's something. It's something to cap off a fun night of iRacing again. The Highway 311 North River Market 75 Round 2 of the TCM Weekly iRacing Series. Now, boys.
What's about?
Could you hear me at all when I was rambling?
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, well, that's good. Now we're going to have Ryan Messer on the inside again, which he was on the inside last restart too. This is his chance to get some redemption, maybe get a little bit of a bump to Mr. Ashton Tucker as some clouds are coming over the sky. At less than 4 laps to go, Kyle, when we fire off again.
You got that right, Dylan. Here we go. Field is doubling up for what could be the final restart. Can we get these final 5 laps in without any more yellows? Ashton Tucker, Keith McClellan, Ryan Messer, Brett Suggs, John Fitzpatrick, your top five. 5 to go at the line. We are back to racing. Messer right underneath of Keith McClellan. He takes over position number 2. Can McClellan fall in line in front of Fitzpatrick? Not quite yet. Fitzpatrick is there taking over the bottom step of the podium, trying to shove him out and clear for position 4 to go at the line.
Suggs going to try to get to the bottom, but McClellan dips to the bottom, almost contact at 33, trying to make a move here as the spotters are telling the drivers it's time to go. McClellan now getting to the bottom, now to the back bumper of the 78, give him a little shove. But now our top 2, Ryan Messer and Ashton Tucker. Battle at the front. It's Messer and Tucker. Messer looking to the inside.
Coming up to 2 laps to go to finish off the highway. 311 North River Market, 75. Ryan Messer trying looking high, wide, and handsome again. Lap and a half left to go. Ashton Tucker, it's been his race so far. Coming up to 1 to go. After this, the last flag will end the race. Tucker crosses the start-finish line. Will Ryan Messer have anything to try and catch up? John Fitzpatrick in P3. Here's the last chance for Ryan Messer to make some romance. Dives in deep. He can't get there. Ashton Tucker is going to win round number 2 at Oxford.
Redemption complete. A strong run last week, made a mistake in lap traffic, got sent to the tail. No mistakes tonight. He wins the Highway 311 North River Market 75 here at the Oxford Plains Speedway for week 2 of the Tim's Corner Motorsports Weekly iRacing Series. Ryan Messer in his series debut finishes in P2. John Fitzpatrick back on the podium once again. He will fall just short of that tie with Ashton Tucker for 3rd place in points, but he will continue the strong runs. He finishes 3rd. Keith McClellan is 4th. Brett Suggs with another top 5 run tonight. Brad Hayes finishes 6th. Chris Roma in 7th. Matthew Barkhouse finishes 8th. Mark Williams 9th. And how about this, gentlemen? 10th place finisher, car number 41 of Jason Goss. Started all the way back in position 24, had to come through one of the hooligan races, and he gets a top 10 tonight.
Yeah, Goss all the way to the back during that caution and made it all the way back to the top 10. Obviously a fast car here tonight, but the storyboard here tonight, boys, the 2-car, Ashton Tucker, near perfect. Like you said, led pretty much 98% of this race. Ryan Messer gave him a little bit of a piece of action there for a little bit, but, you know, someone was doing their homework since week number 1. Ashton Tucker now leading the top of the board for the league.
Test.
Hi.
Hello.
Who do we have in here?
It's John Fitzpatrick.
Oh, well, you know what? We might as well talk to our 3rd place finisher here since we're in victory lane now. John Fitzpatrick, man, you're ultra consistent so far. Got another top 3 here tonight, but you had to kind of earn this top 3.
Yeah, definitely way more competitive than last week. Worked on the car all week, trying to find a few things here and there, and seemed to all come together. I was a lot looser. Like, it seems like loose is fast here. Was tighter last week, so it definitely worked out a bit better.
How did you find the weather and the track temperature affected the car at all?
Definitely a lot looser with the warmer weather. Like, I think Tim was saying it was May last week and it was June this week.
So up in front, you have 2 fast young guns, Ryan Messer and Ashton Tucker. What was your strategy on that last restart? Hang back, try and see if they take each other out, or were you going to try and go up front, battle with those guys?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping they'd take each other out. Was kind of pulling up to them a bit there, but with only less than 5 laps left to go, I was just kind of hoping that Keith behind me, that him and I could kind of fend him off.
It's another 75 lapper next week, John. What's the strategy? You going to try and use the same playbook, or try and maybe set up the car a little different?
Yeah, same playbook, I dare say. The only thing I might is try and tighten it up a little bit, but I don't know if that'll hurt me or not. But we'll definitely be tinkering all week long, I dare say. All
right, well, you got some time to do that. Congrats on your 3rd place finish, pal.
Oh, thank you. And I'd like to thank 98 Highway 311 North River Market for putting it on tonight, and all the frontline healthcare workers out there that are putting themselves out for battling COVID.
Absolutely. Appreciate their services and appreciate you putting on a little show tonight for the fans. That's John Fitzpatrick in the 78. Top 3 again. That's going to land him, I believe, 2nd in points when we tally up everything, gentlemen.
Yeah, big night for Fitzpatrick. Big congratulations to the 78. I believe he's an Islander from PEI, if you can correct me on that one. But
Yes, sir.
what a show coming up through the field at the last half. Who we got next, Kyle?
Well, taking a look here through our.
Brandon Campbell's in here, but we don't want to talk to him.
We're not going to talk to Brandon Campbell yet. We can talk to him, though, because we're trying to get Ashton Tucker and Ryan Messer on here. Apparently, Ryan's microphone is broke, and Ashton is trying to get the two wires in the woods hooked up to make Discord work. So
MacGyver.
That's pretty much what we're dealing with right now. So we're going to give them a couple of more moments to try to get on here, but that was fun. As John said, there was a little bit of slip slide, middle of the pack. A couple of bent tempers, I think, at the back, but that's short track racing when it comes to a groove to a groove and a half racetrack. But I think overall it was a decent show. We're going to put the feature qualifiers into a randomizer here in a few minutes and make that other draw for that final position or the final $5 bonus. But congratulations to Ashton Tucker. Ashton Tucker won the Highway 311 halfway award tonight, won the race. With last week's money, I think he's up to $40 already on this deal through 2 Wednesday nights. So he's making some pretty nice change for a kid from Miramichi.
Yeah, it's enough to buy 3 beers in the Maritimes.
Is he of age?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's 19, isn't he?
He's had some champagne already this season through a couple of big races.
Well, if he is, he's working his way to a Texas Mickey.
He can get the chicken bones liqueur. That's from New Brunswick. But what a race. What we were saying, he had such a great 2020, and it's pretty awesome to see a driver translate the real racing to simulator racing, iRacing as well. And he put on a show tonight, was the class of the field. But got to give a tip of the hat to Ryan Messer as well. He had internet problems last time, wasn't able to make the show. Not at all. He didn't even make any heat races last time. So a solid top 2 for him. Hope to get both those boys in here. And you can see, looking at our top 10 again, Keith McClellan, that's another top 5 for him. Brett Suggs, also another top 5. He was coming into this second in points. Brad Hayes, top 10 run for Mr. Hayes. Chris Roma in the 83 finishing 7th. Matthew Barkhouse dropping 7 positions, only finishing 8th tonight. Mark Williams, solid top 10. And Jason Goss, you talk about drivers earning every spot. He certainly earned it. He had to race in some LCQs. He had to work his way from the back. And tonight he lands in the top 10.
We'll take you through the rest of the top 20. Your 11th place finisher, Rational Richard Drake, John Byron, finishes in 12th tonight. Cody Moorcroft, who was a heat race winner earlier tonight, he finished in position number 13. Nick Pauthier had to come through one of the hooligan races. He finishes in 14th. Derek Gates, 15th place. Travis Roma in 16th. Craig Tully finished in 17th. Chantel Pottle, the exciting hooligan transfer in the second hooligan race. Didn't talk about her really much at all throughout the feature event, but she was able to move up from dead last to an 18th place finish. Roger Down, we talked about the heartbreak, the tough spin late in the going. He suffers a 19th place finish, and finishing in 20th, he got sent tail due to the incident with Roger Down. Didn't have a very good opportunity to recover, and Jake Goodwin finishes on the last car on the lead lap in position number 20.
Very unfortunate for Jake Goodwin. He was battling up there with Suggs and the boys, but now finishing the 20th. But completing the rest, the 97, Riley Duncan finished the 21st position. Todd Cousins in 22nd. Jonathan Pollard in 23rd. Conrad Murphy, your 24th position. Nick Mott in 25th. And completing the field, Corey Howlett at the tail.
So I think it doesn't look like we're going to get Ashton Tucker on tonight. We're going to get him to download the app. We'll get him maybe on the pre-race show next week when we go racing again at Oxford. But congratulations to Ashton Tucker, Ryan Messer, John Fitzpatrick, top 3. We just did the random draw for the extra $5 position tonight. It's going to go to position number 10, which is Jason Goss. So congratulations to Jason. Gets a little bit of his entry fee back from the season, so he'll have that to go forward with this season. Want to thank everybody for stopping in. And Brandon Campbell helped us out last minute. Brent Roy's not here. That's obviously not Brent Roy that's helping us out tonight. Paige did a wonderful job again. What's that?
It's not that's not the great Brent Roy.
That is not the great Brent Roy. I heard he's driven a race car before, just not to 3 track championships. But we'll leave it at that. Great show. We'll do it all again next week. You can see all the updated points and everything else on the Facebook page and on timscorner.ca a little bit later on this week. But Paul, upcoming events, busy Thursday, busy Saturday. What's on the go?
Busy Thursday, busy Saturday, indeed. Doubleheader. Mike James bringing the Eastbound Esports Series right back here for race number 2 on Vidane TV. What are we running? Legend cars tomorrow night, Mikey?
Legend Twin 50s tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Newfoundland time. Green flag. Going to be a dandy. Biggest field we've had coming out of Newfoundland. Probably 18 cars.
Excellent. Really looking forward to that. And then right after that, 8:15 Eastern time tomorrow night, Neps returns here to us with the O'Quinn 75. Pretty excited for that. And then, like Tim said, a doubleheader this coming Saturday. Twin Super Speedway races as Tim's Corner Motorsports is bringing us the Super Speedway special event. And right after that, at the 10:30 Eastern starting time, the Sim 500 Vidane Racing Super Speedway Series. Race number 4. We're going to try and get Kyle Young into the field, but if not, he'll be up here in the booth with me and Tim and whoever else we have up here partying in the booth that evening. But really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to trying to crown a champion. We've got a very cool-looking wrestling-style championship belt for the winner of that, and the winner of that series gets to drive a Rental Race Car Street Stock at Stafford Motor Speedway. So big things coming here on Vidane TV. Easy enough for me to say 3 times fast. And we're still trying to put together last-minute plans for a New Year's Eve bash here on Vidane TV. The pandemic's got everybody stuck home. Why not hang out with your favorite sim racing broadcast station here with Vidane TV? But that's going to wrap us up. Everybody here at Tim's Corner Motorsports, all the drivers, sponsors, partners, affiliates, friends, track workers, commentary guys, everybody here hanging out at Vidane TV. Catch you guys on the flip side. What we do, it's going to be tomorrow night for the Eastbound Esports Series Legends Cars at Lanier.
Racing action on Tim's Corner Motorsports is presented by Pache Motors, the largest Ram truck dealer in Atlantic Canada. Browse their inventory online at pachemotors.com. Tranquility. Help for anxiety is only a click away. Learn more by visiting tranquility.app. Finish Line Vinyl Design, the official decal supplier of Tim's Corner Motorsports. Like them on Facebook at facebook.com/finishline vinyl design. And by CB Warren's Auto Care.